Hello and welcome to Tech Week in View, where every week we take the biggest stories from the tech world, chew them up, spit them out and let you know what we think. Stay tuned. This week saw the launch of the third Kindle in the US, called the Kindle DX. It's a 9.7-inch screen. Idea being that you can then read textbooks or newspapers, throwing those wonderful things, well, a ray of hope, surely. I mean, we all know the newspaper industry's, well, struggling at the moment, to probably put it mildly. You know, advertising rates are falling, circulation's moving online, and all of a sudden you've got a bloated newsroom creating copy for, well, nobody that wants to be interested. So what's the answer? Well, some people believe that creating a bigger screened Kindle, or bigger screen e-book, will allow the newspapers to once again charge for content, you know, a digital copy beamed directly to your house every morning on the way to work. It's an interesting idea. It's something that's obviously puzzling them enough, because even Rupert Murdoch, the big cheese of the newspaper industry, you know, the man that owns the Times, the Sun, the News of the World, the Wall Street Journal, the Sydney Herald, he owns a lot of papers, is worried that giving away content for free online is just, well, it's just not something that's achievable in the long term. So he's already admitted that, well, most of those papers are going to have to shift towards actually charging you, and maybe having an e-book reader might ease that burden of sort of worrying about, well, why is it free today? I've got to pay for it tomorrow. The trouble is if News International are the only group of papers to move to charging, and, well, you can go anywhere else and get it free, it's going to be a tough sell convincing someone to part with their cash. A funny thing happened on the internet this week. Yeah, I know lots of funny things happen on the internet most of the time, but this was interesting. This was a rumour story that Apple was going to buy Twitter. The birds got talking, and all of a sudden it was the biggest story of the week. Now, where did it come from? Well, it came from a gossip columnist on the web Valleywag in the US, and there was no real substantiating evidence. By the end of the week, we've already had Biz Stone, the dude, the founder of Twitter, certainly one of them, talking on a talk show saying that they weren't for sale, and therefore any rumour was just, well, merely that. What was interesting, though, was the response from journalists around the world. They didn't want to not report on the story in case it did become true, because, hey, crazier things have happened. eBay buying Skype, for example, but at the same time they all sort of knew in the back of their mind that this rumour was so absurd that, well, it really was just, you know, someone having a bit of fun. And it suddenly caused this whole scenario about Twitter. It's just almost as if there's a rumour a week about who's doing what, what's happening where, and why they should be doing what they're doing. It certainly means that the company is full into that mainstream populace. But will it sell? Will it stay as it is? Are they after world domination, an altruistic view of making us just talk better, or are they just holding out for a bit more cash? I'm sure a new rumour will be emerging next week to spill the beans even further. So this bank holiday I did something that actually it turns out quite a few people did. They got up really early. Well, I got up early, quite a lot of people stayed up late to go onto a website, which I'm not going to mention because there's no point, to bag a deal, right? Bag a good deal. Supposedly thousands of free products just for turning up, pressing a button and paying $4.95 for postage. Sound too good to be true, and, well, the problem was it seems that it was. Now, we're not saying it was a scam, we're not saying that the company went out to mislead people, but when you put on a deal in tough times that sounds too good to be true, the chances are that lots of people are going to respond to that. The chances are that if they then get to the deal time, that moment of truth, and you let them down by having a website that's incredibly slow, not answering, just basically being pathetic, then in fact this wonderful idea and this wonderful deal that you have is then going to backfire massively. And that's what happened this week. I went on and there wasn't really that much of interest, but lots of readers who came to Pocket Lint this week, well, I feel really sorry for them. On our recommendation, they stayed up late. They got up early on bank holiday and they were disappointed. So for me, I'm sorry if you didn't get it. I'm sorry that we pointed you in the direction and the people that were responsible didn't live up to their end of the bargain. It's a shame But as lots of people have said on the website, it's really only reflected badly on them. And it just shows you that if you're going to come up with a crazy idea, and this was a great one, that you've got to be good at delivering. So at the very end of last week, our intrepid reporter over at PocketLink, Chris Hall, managed to wrangle from Acer the date of the Windows 7 release. Yes, it's not going to be January as we all expected, but in fact the 23rd of October, if the UK boss of Acer is to be believed. And trust us, we think it is. So what does that mean? Well, the great news for gadget fans, or should I say PC fans, is that they'll be able to convince, hopefully, their partners, family members, etc., to club together to buy them a new netbook, notebook or desktop PC in time for Christmas, giving them plenty of chance to play with the new OS over the holidays. Of course, there are some losers in this scenario. Anybody going back to school, for example, or university, who wants a new machine, well, they're going to have to buy it with Vista for a month and then upgrade later, which, let's face it, it's just a bit of a hassle, isn't it? Either way, an October release is certainly better than a January one, and it means that anybody fed up with Vista doesn't have that much longer to wait. Well, that's it for this week's show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Why don't you tune in next time for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more. I'm Stuart Miles, this is Megawatt TV. I'm off for a shave.